Well, today we're making quick mozzarella, and this is a really simple recipe. There's the ingredients there. You only use 4 litres of milk, full cream milk or whole milk. You need some lipase, liquid rennet, and some salt. Oh, and a little bit of citric acid. Anyway, we'll talk about that as we go through the process. Now, here's the 4 litres of milk we're going to put into the stock pot or your cheese pot. Nice and easy. This is just at fridge temperature, so this is be about 4 degrees Celsius, the milk. So before we add the first ingredient, which is the citric acid, we need to heat that up to 13 degrees Celsius or 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Once that's done, we add the lipase. And this is diluted with 1/4 cup of water. And then we add in the citric acid. And the citric acid brings up the overall acidity level of the milk. Now this is very important when making mozzarella, or if you don't add it, you will not be able to stretch the mozzarella when it comes to the stretching stage. So it starts to curdle slightly on the top, only just a little bit, but now we're going to heat it up to the next target temperature. So we've heated it up now. Now we're going to add in the rennet. We stir that. We add it when we're stirring, and we add that as the last ingredient. There's a little bit in the cup, so we just washed it out with a little bit of milk. Give it a stir for about a minute. And then once that's thoroughly stirred in, we're going to leave that to set. Now the heat is off at this stage, just while we're waiting for it to set. So we're going to let that stand for 5 minutes. So 5 minutes later, we're going to reapply the heat again, and we'll check for a clean break. Yep, it splits nicely, so that curd is set well. And we're going to simply cut that. It's quite a thick curd. Sometimes you don't need to do this step. You'll find that your mozzarella will turn into curds and whey almost instantly after you add the rennet. But during this one, we had to cut the curd. So nice and easy, just you cut it horizontally then diagonally, and now we're going to cut sideways. I'm going to heat that up to 40 degrees Celsius. Now you can see that as we've heated it, the curds have shrunk and there's more whey that has come out, and now we're just going to drain that through cheesecloth. You'll find the curds are quite solid at this stage. So we're just draining the curds there, just gently gravity draining No pressings required for this cheese at all. So you've got most of the way out there. I'm going to put it into a Pyrex bowl next. And the Pyrex bowl, the reason we've got that there is so that we can heat it up in the microwave. Now sometimes you'll find with pasteurised milk you may need to add some calcium chloride. For this recipe I'd add 1/4 teaspoon of calcium chloride if I was using pasteurised milk, because it sets a firmer curd, and you add that about the same time you add the citric acid. In this example the curd's a little bit sloppy when I made it here. I could have done with a little bit of with a little bit of calcium chloride. However, it still turned out okay. Anyway, so we've got our curds and whey there, and we're just going to drain off the excess whey that we can. Now that's as much whey that's coming off as it is at the moment, or maybe a little bit more. And we'll pop that into the microwave now. So this process does use a microwave oven to firm up the curd, and it heats it. In the traditional recipe, you simply heat the whey further when you add it back into the pot. Now we're going to heat it on high for 1 minute, and this is a 1000-watt microwave. So if you have a lower wattage microwave, you may want to do it just a little bit longer, maybe 10-20 seconds longer. So that was a nice quick minute due to the magic of video. I'm going to drain that out as much of the whey as we can. It still as it heats up, it expels whey. So that's what we're trying to drain. You just simply drain it with your fingers, fanned there, and you can see the curd starting to form a solid. There's a fair bit of whey still coming off of that curd there. So after you've drained it, just gently knead it a little bit. Not like bread dough, you're just trying to get the whey to seep out of the curds just gently. You don't want to push it too hard. And as I said, as it heats up in the microwave, more whey expels out of the curds. So back into the microwave on high for about 35 seconds. So once that's finished, we just drain out the excess whey again. There's a little bit more there, and we need a little bit more. Starting to get hot at this stage now. I do, because I've got very weathered hands, I do recommend that those with a little bit more sensitive skin wear rubber gloves at this stage, because it's starting to get quite hot, the curd is. Certainly over 50 degrees Celsius. It's forming a nice ball of curd mass. So we need to pop it into the microwave just one more time at between 30 and 35 seconds. So as you can see, not very much whey coming off now after the second zap in the microwave. So back into the microwave. Time's passed, a little bit more whey there. It is very hot. As I mentioned, you will need gloves. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of cheese salt. And we're going to need that in. So once all the sugar is dissolved, once all the salt is dissolved into the curd, it will be hot enough that you should be able to stretch the mozzarella. Now, if you can't stretch it at this stage, your mozzarella curd is not hot enough. You can put it back into the microwave for another 20 seconds so it's able to be stretched. Now, don't overwork it. You're trying to work it so it starts to form a shiny skin. You can see there's a nice shiny skin, perfect, able to be stretched. And I'm forming those into small balls of mozzarella. All I do is squeeze them between my thumb and forefinger. As you can see, it stretches readily. That's nice and hot. So easy, it's ready to work. So I'm just stretching that into a ball and then pinch off. Then I dunk them into ice water to allow them to cool rapidly, and that forms a nice solid ball, and it cools evenly all the way through. Now you may find while you're doing this the cheese cools down too much and you can't form balls anymore. That's fine, just form it into whatever you can, or you can pop it back into the microwave again just for for about 10 seconds. So you're going to be fairly quick at this stage because the curd's cooling down all the time. Now you'll find that if you keep this in the refrigerator after you've cooled it down and put it in a container, that after about 24 hours, the lipase starts to kick in, the enzyme lipase, and it creates an incredible flavour. Eating the cheese at the moment, it's a little bit salty, there's not a lot of flavour, but after about 24 hours, the flavour really kicks in, and it tastes absolutely delicious. But you can, at this stage, you can still use your mozzarella nice and fresh, but it does improve flavour. The flavour does improve with age. Now, having said that, I wouldn't leave it much longer than a week to consume your mozzarella. There are no preservatives in this cheese. It's simply salt, milk, rennet and lipase, and a little bit of citric acid to help form the stretchy part of the curd. Now this cheese does melt readily, so it's great on pizzas and any sort of Italian food, or even straight up on a nice cracker with some basil and some freshly sliced heirloom tomatoes. It is just amazing. Anyway, so we're going to let that cool down for about 5 minutes. And simply, after the 5 minutes are finished, we can pop it into a plastic container or a glass container and pop it into the refrigerator. And that can be stored away. Like I said, wouldn't do it any more than a week because it actually does start to lose its shape. So we're going to just cut some of this up so you can serve it warm. It's a little bit warm at the moment, even though it's come out of the ice. It's nothing quite like eating your fresh mozzarella as it's come out of the ice. It slices beautifully. Now if you want to grate it, just pop your mozzarella balls into the freezer, leave them for about 24 hours, and then you can grate that, no problems at all. Pop it into a bag and store it in the freezer for topping on pizzas and stuff like that. There I am. and it tastes absolutely fantastic. So you can actually purchase mozzarella kits. It's called the Mozzarella and Ricotta Cheese Making Kit, and make this recipe. It is absolutely delicious. Well, thanks for watching Little Green Workshop's video tutorials. I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to drop over to the website. Until next time, we'll see you later.